Robin, Sweet Beans Crochet, here to share with you guys how I paint safety eyes. Very fun topic. Normally we use black plain safety eyes to put in our amigurumi, but there are some really cool clear eyeballs that we can hand paint. So I'm just here to share with you guys how I do it to give it the sparkly, pretty, kawaii look. I do have them also for sale on my website. I will be posting them soon. So if you're not here to actually paint them, I do sell them. But if you guys want to do it yourself and put them on your own plushies or sell them yourself, this is a really great way I found to do it. It does take some time because you have to give it time to dry. The clear eyes typically come with a paper backing, which to my understanding is not safe to put in the washing machine. So if you do tell people who purchase your plushies they can put them in the washing machine, make sure you're not using the paper backing. So here are some examples of what I'm talking about today. So these are some safety eyes I've created. So we've got blue, purple, and this is like a pink multicolored. And here are some plushies I've created with said safety eyes. So here's a little dragon with blue eyes and an elephant with blue eyes. So these are really simple to make. They do take some time. You have to wait for the paint to dry before applying them to plushies. You have to make sure you seal the backing. The materials that you will need are the safety eyes. So there are two different kinds of safety eyes. There are these, which are moon-shaped safety eyes, kawaii style. And these are traditional circle safety eyes. So the black pupil is centered. They're both really cute. They give you different looks depending on the plushie that you want. But I've noticed whether or not you use which kind, when you put them on the plushie, if they're kind of on the sides of the head, when you look directly at the plushie, they both look like they're cross-eyed. So that it'll both give them both the cute little look. But that's a different kind of safety eyes. So first you need safety eyes. There are a couple different places you can find them on Amazon and AliExpress. Amazon ships way quicker. The pricing is pretty similar, but I will have those linked below for what I use. You will need some paintbrushes. I'm gonna keep it real here, you guys. Get them from the dollar store. That's where I got mine from, and they work perfectly fine. You will need to make sure you have tiny tips. So mine are very small because you deal with like a small surface. You're not gonna have a big surface area. You don't need big paintbrushes. You can take a big one and cut it if you need to. You really don't need expensive stuff for this. I'm also gonna just keep all of it DIY to keep it user-friendly. You can use fancier stuff if you want, but paper towel to wipe your grubby glitter on because it does get cakey, so you will need some paper towel. And if you don't want to dirty a tray or a paper plate or whatever, if you don't have any of that at your house, what you could do is you could take a plastic bag and you could use the plastic bag to mix your paints on if you're gonna be doing that. So this is the super cheap, or paper plate. So that's the cheapest, quickest way to do it. Those are the bare minimum supplies you need. Everything else is optional. That's where the fun begins. So the optional items to the safety eye painting are your paints. So there are different kinds of paints. You can just use regular, so this is color shifting paint. So you can just use regular color shifting paint, and this will give it a really cool look too. But if you want to give it a glittery look, you're going to need glitter paint. So you can take different steps. You can use them both. I've done everything under the sun with mixing these kind of paints. So I like to use these. The folk art in particular is really nice. I really enjoy the folk art glitterific ones. The deco art, not really my favorite, just personal preference. I don't like the glitter chunks in there. That's honestly what I have against the deco art glitter paint. But glitter paint, any colors, and all of it needs to be acrylic. So whatever paint you get, make sure it's acrylic paint. I'm gonna leave it there so I don't overwhelm your brain with like all the paint options, but you can use any kind of paint you want. As long as it's acrylic, you can use that on the safety eyes. Also, to make them more unique, you can add glitter, like add glitter to the glitter paint. So these are just, I think these are from Joann's, but I have a bunch of sets. So these are from Joann's. I have ones from Amazon that are big chunks, and then this is like fine glitter. So glitter options to add to the paint. And also if you're doing like DIY paint, mica powder, which will help colorize it. If the background is not exactly the kind of color you want, you can make your own. Or you could just paint it with black in the background and it'll give it a dark tint. But let me just say the black does not do well, at least personally, when I do like light pastel colors. So if you do a light pastel like pink or even red and you put the black behind it, it will look dirty. So just keep in mind what your layering. So you got to figure out what the layering and the colors will look like. Although if you put the black against like a chrome color, those will dazzle against the black. So it really depends on which paint you're going to be using on the backing. But it's all up to you. Do whatever you want. Have fun with it. That's why I'm putting this tutorial up, because I've been having a lot of fun with it, and you can personalize your plushies that way. So for the first example, I'm going to do a basic glittery golden one. This is honestly my favorite combination. So plain glitter with black acrylic. So this is what I'm going to be using today. What I do is I leave the plastic on the front of the safety eyes, and then you want to shake your paint up, and you're going to put a little bit on your paper towel just so it's out of the container. It's a little bit easier to work with. So we got our glitter paint here. And you're going to take a big glob, and you're going to want to apply it generously. As long as you create a layer, it can be thick, but a layer that is pretty uniform in height all the way around. So once you have a layer that is, sorry, I'm trying to show you guys, pretty thick, but not too thick where it's like running off of your project. That is the first layer. The front is looking something like that. So there are spaces behind there. So you're gonna have to let this rest for at least 2 hours, and then you're gonna put another layer on. So here I have one that I let sit. I let it sit overnight actually, but I let that one sit. So now we're gonna add another layer to it. So there we have the second layer. So now we're gonna let that dry, and then you're just gonna apply a layer of black over it. So now that's what the front looks like. So here's one that received 2 layers of the gold. So now we're going to use the Deco Art acrylic black paint, and because we use such a small amount, go straight from like the edges of the bottle. And you want to apply it so that it covers the entire glitter backing to seal it in. I also tried Mod Podge, which is also a sealer. The only problem with Mod Podge is it doesn't leave, well, it smells. Okay, Mod Podge stinks. And it leaves a weird foggy color to the background of the eyeballs, so I steer clear of Mod Podge now. But this is my favorite color combination with the black, at least. Using the cinnamon with the black. I think this looks really pretty. And now I'm gonna show you guys a more complex, like mixed powder paint one, but this is just the basic. I think this looks really pretty with the hand painting, but you do have to leave hours in between to dry, and then obviously now that we painted the sealer on, now let it sit for 24 hours. So that's the only part, is the waiting. You have to be patient, make sure you apply the paint not too messily so that it's not too bad for you to clean up afterwards. So here's where you're gonna take whatever color you want. So I'm gonna use a glittery purple, and I'm gonna use this glittery purple glitter, and I'm going to mix them. The only material I did not tell you guys about was, like, I'm using a plastic spoon. This is just to make mixing easier. You can use your paintbrush to mix these two together, but I just found it is quicker if you use a spoon. So I'm just going to take a bit of glitter paint. You put this on your paper plate or your plastic bag, whatever you have available to you. And I'm going to take some of this glitter. I'm going to take a little bit. This is personal preference, so have fun, do whatever color you want. It does not even have to be the same color, not one bit. It could be anything. And mix it together. You want to make sure they're incorporated well. But this is just so, it makes such a pretty glittery because sometimes the glitter paints are sparse, like they're, you know, you'll get a part of just the paint without glitter. So this really makes sure that what you're doing is saturated. If you don't want to do multiple layers, you still kind of have to layer though. But so I'm gonna take this mixture, I'm gonna get another eyeball, and this time I'm gonna use the moon eyeball. So this is where the eyeball is looking off to the side, not centered. I leave the plastic facing just so that it's easier for me to paint. I don't have to touch anything. And you want to take, again, a big glob of paint, and you want to kind of just press it on there. Sorry, I'm not doing the best job at showing you. But you just want to smother it around until you get the coverage you want, and then even then you can remember you're going to be putting on another layer, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And these just create really customizable eyes. You can make them for anything you want, but look at how, can't even see how beautiful that is. And then after we let this dry, I'm gonna show you what we're gonna put behind it. Honestly, what I like to do for these ones is the color shift in the background. I like to match the color shift, but you could mix and match. So I think this one would actually probably look really good with a blue behind it. So here's like the blue color shift that we'll put behind. Or here's the purple. Would look good behind that one too. So just to show you now that that's done, we put the purple backing on. I wanted to catch that. And now it has a solid background. This is what it looks like right now. And after this dries, you can paint another layer of black on there if you're gonna be like selling them, or if you're just gonna be putting them on your own plushies because you did seal it with the acrylic paint, you should be fine. But I know people like to do the black layer if you're selling, so that's all up to you. It was so nice hanging out with you guys today.